Okay. Have you ever felt like, I don't know, your joints are just rebelling against you? Like, just doing simple things is hard.
Yeah.
That's the reality for so many people who are dealing with arthritis,
Yeah.
and that's really the core of what we're going to dive into today. We've gotten some really interesting medical research about arthritis, specifically focusing on orthotic management.
Right.
So we're going to go through it, kind of pick out those key takeaways,
Yeah.
see if there are any surprises in there for you. Like, did you know that staying in bed all day when you have arthritis can actually make it worse?
Wow.
Or that something as simple as like a cane
Right.
can be a game changer? So let's get started.
Let's unpack osteoarthritis,
Okay.
or OA, the most common form of arthritis in Canada.
Okay.
So this really targets weight-bearing joints,
Oh.
your knees, your hips, and your spine. And you can think of the cartilage in these joints, that smooth protective layer, as gradually wearing away. That's really OA in a nutshell.
Okay, so it's kind of like our body's own shock absorbers are deteriorating.
Precisely. And while this wear and tear often happens naturally as we age, a previous injury can also kind of kickstart this whole cascade of events.
Gotcha. So it's like a double whammy for those joints.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's say like you get diagnosed. What's the game plan then? Is it just a matter of taking pills?
It's definitely not a one-size-fits-all, and thankfully it's not just about popping pills.
Okay, good.
Managing arthritis requires a multi-pronged approach,
Okay.
with medications being just one piece of the puzzle.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's talk meds.
Okay.
What are some of the, the ones that people commonly use?
You can think of medications as tools to manage those symptoms of pain, stiffness, and inflammation, making day-to-day life a little bit easier.
Right.
For instance, imagine someone struggling to walk due to intense knee pain.
Yeah.
A specific type of medication called a corticosteroid can be incredibly effective in these situations. It works by reducing the inflammation in that joint. So you can kind of think of it as turning down the volume on a blaring alarm.
Okay, I like that analogy.
And this reduction in inflammation often translates to significant pain relief,
Okay.
which allows the individual to regain some mobility and even participate in the activities they love.
Okay, so that must be like a beacon of hope,
Yes.
for people who are in so much pain. But as with any powerful tool, I'm guessing there's a flip side.
You're absolutely right. Even though corticosteroids can be incredibly effective for that short-term pain relief, they're not without their downsides.
Right.
They're powerful medications, and using them long-term can actually lead to some issues like bone thinning and high blood pressure.
Oh, wow.
It really highlights the crucial role of a doctor in finding that sweet spot, so the right medication and the right dosage to maximize benefit and really minimize risk.
It's all about finding that balance. Okay, so meds can help manage those symptoms, but what about tackling the actual problem, the root of the problem?
And that's where physical and occupational therapy come in.
Okay.
A lot of people believe that resting is the best way to deal with achy joints.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense, right? Like if something hurts, you just rest it.
Right. Yeah.
But here's a fascinating fact.
Okay.
Prolonged bed rest can actually make things worse.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So when you're inactive, those muscles supporting your joints actually weaken. And the joints themselves, they can stiffen up, and even your burns can become fragile.
Wow. Okay.
So it's like a domino effect of negative consequences.
I never really thought of that.
Yeah.
So what's the alternative? What kind of activities?
Controlled movement
Okay.
within a pain-free range.
Okay.
So imagine someone with arthritis in their hip.
Right.
Gentle exercises like walking, water aerobics, or even Tai Chi can make a world of difference.
They help maintain that flexibility, strengthen the supporting muscles, and overall improve function.
So it's like giving your joints a nudge, like, hey, remember, you guys are supposed to move.
Exactly. Okay.
I like that. Okay, so we've got meds, we've got therapy, but what happens when those options aren't cutting it?
Right.
Is surgery the next step?
Surgery is definitely on the table, but it's usually reserved for more severe cases, those situations where other treatments haven't provided sufficient relief. And the type of surgery, of course, depends on the joint and the extent of the damage.
Okay, so what kind of surgical procedures are we talking about here?
Well, for instance, in early stages, surgery might involve removing inflamed tissue or repairing damaged tendons, essentially trying to salvage the joint. But in severe cases, a joint fusion where the bones are permanently joined together might be the best option.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Of course, the rock star of joint surgery these days is joint replacement.
Right.
Hips and knees in particular have benefited tremendously.
Oh,
Imagine a hip joint, so ravaged by arthritis that simple walking is agonizing.
right.
A hip replacement can be truly life-changing, allowing people to regain their mobility and get back to doing the things they love.
So we've got meds to manage symptoms, we've got therapy to keep things moving, and then we've got surgery for when things are really bad.
Right.
But now, let's get into the main part of what we're talking about, the heart of this deep dive.
Okay.
Orthotic management. So what exactly is an orthotic,
Right.
and how does it help someone who's battling arthritis?
They're like customized support systems for your joints.
Okay.
They could be as simple as a shoe insert or as complex as a brace for your knee. And they're designed to reduce the stress on those achy joints, improve how the joint moves,
Okay.
and ultimately alleviate pain.
So they're like external reinforcements, giving your
Yes.
joints a break.
Precisely.
Okay, cool. How do they actually work? Like, what are their goals?
For instance, imagine a knee brace for someone with arthritis. It aims to achieve 3 key things. First, it might gently restrict movement in the knee, allowing it to rest and recover, which significantly can reduce pain.
Okay.
Second, it can help to shift the weight-bearing forces, ensuring they're distributed more evenly across the joint, improving alignment and reducing strain. And finally, it provides that extra support, preventing further damage and promoting stability.
Okay, so they're not all created equal, right?
Absolutely not. They're carefully tailored to each person's needs
Right.
and the specific joint that's affected.
Gotcha. So where do we even start with orthotics? Like, what area is the most vulnerable?
Well, considering our feet bear the brunt of our weight with every step we take,
Right.
they're often the first to show signs of wear and tear.
Okay.
The arthritic foot is incredibly common,
Uh-huh.
and it can lead to a whole cascade of problems.
Okay, so like what kind of problems with the feet?
Well, imagine that bony bump at the base of your big toe, often called a bunion.
Right.
Yeah, that's a common problem with arthritic feet. It's a deformity that can cause pain and
Wow.
make it difficult to even wear certain shoes.
Right.
Then there's something called pronation, where the foot rolls inward excessively when you walk. It's like your
Yeah.
foot's collapsing inward, putting extra stress on the ankle and the entire leg.
Hmm.
And then you've got hammer toes, where the toes become permanently bent, resembling little hammers.
Okay.
And they can rub against your shoes, creating painful corns and calluses.
So how do orthotics help with all of that?
Well, orthotics for the feet can be incredibly effective.
Okay.
Imagine a custom-molded shoe insert
Right.
designed to redistribute pressure, cradle the foot's arch, and gently nudge those toes back into a more natural position.
Right.
This can significantly reduce pain, improve stability, and make walking much more comfortable.
Okay.
And for those with severe deformities, extra depth shoes with
Right.
wide toe boxes
Uh-huh.
can provide that much-needed relief, allowing those toes to spread out comfortably. And in some cases, custom-molded shoes, crafted specifically for that individual's foot,
Yeah.
can provide the ultimate in comfort and support.
So it's all about finding that perfect fit. What about the ankles and the knees?
Ankles, especially after injuries or repetitive stress, are also common sites for arthritis.
Right.
Imagine someone with an arthritic ankle struggling to walk, every step sending shooting pains up their leg.
Right.
A rigid ankle-foot orthosis, or AFO, can be a game changer here.
Okay.
It acts like a supportive shell, stabilizing the joint, restricting those painful movements, allowing those ligaments and tendons to heal.
Gotcha.
And by incorporating features like a rocker sole, which gently rolls the foot forward with each step, we can further improve their gait, making walking much smoother and less jarring.
It's amazing how those can be so specifically designed. Now, the knees, those seem like they would be really vulnerable to arthritis, just given the amount of, weight and strength they bear.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Knee arthritis can be incredibly debilitating, leading to stiffness, instability.
Right, and that nagging pain that makes even getting out of a chair a challenge.
Right.
Orthotics play a huge role in managing these symptoms. Think of a knee brace, not the kind athletes wear, but a more supportive and corrective brace. It can provide that much-needed support, gently control movement, and take some of the burden off those overworked muscles and tendons.
So it's like giving your knees a helping hand, literally.
Yeah.
Are there any, other surprising solutions for knee pain?
There's one you might find interesting.
Okay.
It's called an ischial weight-bearing brim.
Okay.
And it's very unique. Imagine shifting the weight from the painful knee up to the pelvis.
Okay.
That's what this device does.
Hmm.
It might sound a little strange,
Right.
but it can offer significant relief for some people.
Okay.
Of course, we also have the simpler solutions like those elastic knee supports that you often see.
Right.
They're great for managing swelling,
Hmm.
and they're much easier to put on and take off.
Makes sense.
Mm.
What about the hips? Do they factor in too? Hip arthritis is often managed with medication and therapy in the early stages.
Okay.
But orthotics become more common after hip replacement surgery.
Okay.
Imagine a brand new hip joint, freshly implanted and ready to
Yeah.
go.
Right.
A hip orthosis, or HO, can play a crucial role.
Okay.
It provides that controlled movement, preventing excessive rotation or bending that could disrupt healing.
Oh, okay. So it's like training wheels
Exactly.
for your hip.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What about before surgery, though?
I
Is
like-
there anything that can help with hip pain?
You might be surprised by this one, but a simple walking cane can be a game changer for those with hip arthritis.
Really? A cane? That seems so simple.
It's surprisingly effective.
Mhm.
Imagine someone struggling to walk due to hip pain. Now, picture them using a cane held on the opposite side of their affected hip.
Right?
It subtly widens their base of support, taking some of the strain off those overworked hip muscles and making walking much more comfortable. It's a perfect example of how sometimes the simplest solutions can be the most effective.
That's great. It's like, don't underestimate the power of simple tools.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, from like the feet all the way up to the hips.
Right.
What are some key takeaways that you would want our listeners to, take away about orthotic management?
First and foremost, orthotics are like supporting actors in the arthritis drama. They're meant to work alongside other treatments like medication and therapy,
Okay.
not replace them entirely.
So it's a team effort.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Secondly, orthotics are highly personalized. What works for one person might not work for another.
Okay.
It's about finding the right device for your unique needs and biomechanics.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all situation.
Exactly. And finally, while orthotics can be incredibly helpful in managing arthritis, reducing pain, and improving function,
Right.
it's important to remember that they're not a cure. They're tools to help you live a fuller, more comfortable life, despite the challenges of arthritis.
Right. It's about managing it, not necessarily getting rid of it completely.
Exactly.
Okay. And I think that's a great segue into what we're going to talk about in part 2.
Sounds intriguing.
We're going to kind of delve into like the nuances of orthotic selection.
Okay.
The materials used and like what the fitting process looks like.
Okay.
We'll also uncover some insights into like how orthotics are evolving with, new technologies and innovations. So it's going to be a wild ride. But for now, we're going to take a quick pause. So stick around. In part 2, we'll get into like the nitty-gritty of how these incredible devices are designed, crafted, and fitted to provide the ultimate in support and relief.
Great. So welcome back. Let's unpack this whole world of orthotic selection and fit.
Yeah, let's get into it. So when you're choosing like the right orthotic for someone, is it as simple as like, okay, you've got knee arthritis, here's a knee brace?
If only it were that simple.
Right.
It's much more nuanced than that. It's really about understanding the whole person, not just their diagnosis.
Okay.
So imagine like two people, both with knee arthritis,
Right.
but with vastly different lifestyles.
Right.
One is a marathon runner.
Okay.
The other enjoys leisurely walks in the park.
Yeah.
Their needs, their activity levels, even their shoe preferences will all influence what type of orthotic will work best for them.
Okay, so it's like a highly personalized process.
Absolutely. We start with a thorough assessment, getting a clear picture of their specific condition, their symptoms, their lifestyle, and even their goals.
Okay.
Like, are they trying to manage pain,
Right.
improve stability, get back to running marathons? All those answers will guide our selection process.
So walk me through like the assessment. Like what does that look like?
So we'll examine their range of motion, looking for limitations or restrictions.
Okay.
We'll check for deformities, like those bunions and hammer toes we talked about earlier. And we'll assess their gait, observe how they walk, looking for any imbalances or asymmetries. It's like putting together a puzzle.
Okay.
Gathering all the pieces to create that complete picture of their needs.
Gotcha. And then once you've got the puzzle put together,
Right.
how do you decide like which orthotic is the right fit?
We consider the biomechanics of the joint.
Okay.
So essentially how it moves and functions. We factor in the severity of their arthritis, is it mild, moderate, or severe?
Right.
And of course, their individual goals.
Okay.
What are they hoping to achieve with the orthotic?
So it's like a custom-tailored suit.
That's a great analogy. Just like a well-tailored suit, a well-fitted orthotic should feel comfortable, provide the right support, and help them move more freely and confidently.
Okay, so let's talk materials.
Okay.
Is it all like hard plastic and metal?
Not at all. The world of orthotic materials has come a long way.
Mm-hmm.
We have everything from rigid plastics, which are great for maximum support and stability,
Right.
to softer, more flexible materials like foams and gels,
Okay.
which are excellent for cushioning and shock absorption.
So there's a whole range depending on what you need.
Exactly.
What are like the pros and cons of those different types of materials?
Imagine someone with severe ankle instability who needs a lot of support. A rigid plastic AFO might be the best choice.
Okay.
It provides that rock-solid stability,
Right.
preventing their ankle from rolling or twisting. But for someone with milder arthritis who's looking for more comfort and cushioning, a softer, more flexible material might be a better fit.
Okay.
It's about finding that sweet spot.
Yeah, the balance between support and comfort.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that. So you've picked the material, you've picked the right orthotic.
Right.
What about like the fitting?
Right.
How do you actually make sure that it's working?
The fitting process is crucial. It's not just about giving someone a device and sending them on their way.
Right.
We need to make sure it fits properly,
Okay.
that it's comfortable,
Yeah.
and that it's achieving its intended purpose.
Okay.
Imagine a shoe that's too tight.
Right.
It's not going to be very helpful. Same with orthotics.
Right. It's got to fit. So walk me through like the fitting process. What can someone expect?
Okay, so it starts with taking those precise measurements
Okay.
of the affected area. And in some cases, we might even make a mold,
Okay.
especially for custom orthotics.
Right.
Think of like a plaster cast you get for a broken bone.
Right. Yeah.
It's a similar concept. This ensures a perfect fit, customized to their unique anatomy.
Like a blueprint of their joint.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And then we'll have them try on the device,
Uh-huh.
observe how they move.
Okay.
We'll watch them walk, ask them to perform certain movements,
Okay.
and make adjustments as needed.
Oh.
It's very hands-on, very iterative. We want to make sure they're comfortable, that the orthotic is providing the right support, and that it's not causing any new pain or discomfort.
So you're working with them to get it just right.
Exactly.
Okay. What about like follow-up? Is that important?
Absolutely. We want to make sure that orthotic is working as intended
Okay.
and that the individual's using it correctly.
Right.
You wouldn't just buy a new car, drive it off the lot, and never take it back for maintenance.
Right.
We'll schedule follow-up appointments to check for any issues, make adjustments, and answer any questions they might have.
Okay, cool. So, we've talked a lot about like the kind of like older types of orthotics,
No.
but is the world of orthotics evolving? Like, are there any cool new things coming out?
Absolutely. Technology is rapidly changing the way we design, manufacture, and even use orthotics.
Okay.
We're seeing advancements in 3D printing,
Right.
which allows for highly customized and precise devices.
So how is 3D printing like changing things?
Well, it's like taking that personalized blueprint we talked about
Yeah.
and bringing it to life. Instead of relying on those traditional molding techniques, which can be time-consuming.
Right.
We can scan a patient's anatomy
Mm-hmm.
and print a device that's perfectly tailored to their shape and needs. It's like magic.
So you're just printing out the perfect orthotic for them.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's really cool. Are there any other like cool things coming out?
We're seeing a lot of research into smart orthotics.
Okay.
Imagine a brace that can sense how you're moving,
Okay.
provide feedback in real time, and even adjust the level of support based on your needs.
Wow. So it's like a personal trainer for your joint.
Exactly. These devices incorporate sensors and microprocessors that collect all this valuable data,
Right.
both for the patient and their healthcare provider.
That's really neat. What about materials? Like, are there new materials that are coming out?
Researchers are always pushing those boundaries, exploring materials that are lighter, stronger, and more durable than those traditional plastics.
Right.
We're seeing a lot of interest in biocompatible materials, materials that integrate seamlessly with the body, reducing the risk of irritation and improving overall comfort. Imagine an orthotic that feels like a second skin.
Wow, okay. So comfortable you forget you're even wearing it?
Exactly. Exactly.
What about sustainability? Is that a factor when you're, designing these new things?
Absolutely. Sustainability is becoming increasingly important in all areas of healthcare,
Right.
including orthotics.
Okay.
We're seeing a shift toward using recycled and recyclable materials,
Okay.
and we're exploring manufacturing processes that minimize that environmental impact.
Okay. So it's not just good for our bodies, it's good for the planet as well.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
Hmm.
But I imagine all of this cool new technology,
Right.
it's probably expensive.
That's a valid concern. Advanced orthotics, especially those incorporating those latest technologies, can be expensive.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that even the simple, more affordable orthotics can provide significant relief for many people. A basic shoe insert, properly fitted, can make a world of difference for someone with foot pain.
So it's about that balance between like innovation and accessibility.
Exactly. And as technology continues to advance, hopefully these innovations will become more affordable
Right.
and accessible to a wider range of people.
Yeah, that makes sense. We've talked a lot about like the technical side of things, but like what about the people? What do you find most rewarding about working with people who need orthotics?
For me, it's all about seeing that transformation.
Okay.
Imagine someone who's been struggling with pain, limited mobility for years, finally finding relief and regaining their independence.
Right.
It's incredibly gratifying to be part of that journey.
Yeah, you're seeing them like make these breakthroughs.
Yeah.
And I imagine it's not just like physical, it's also emotional too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Chronic pain can really take a toll on a person's mental and emotional well-being. It can lead to frustration, depression, even social isolation. And orthotics, by alleviating that pain and improving function, can really help to lift that burden
Okay.
and restore that sense of hope.
So you're not just treating joints, you're treating like the whole person.
Absolutely. It's all connected.
Yeah. Before we move on, like what's the most like creative orthotic solution you've ever come across? Something that really made you think outside the box?
One that comes to mind is a young musician, a violinist,
Okay.
who developed severe arthritis in her fingers.
Oh, wow.
And it was heartbreaking. She was so passionate about her music,
Great.
but the pain was making it almost impossible to play.
Yeah.
We worked with a team of specialists
Okay.
to create this custom-designed hand orthosis that provided support, reduced pain, and allowed her to continue playing.
Oh, wow.
Seeing her face light up when she realized she could still pursue her passion was priceless. It's moments like that that make this field so rewarding.
That's a beautiful story. It really like brings it home how these devices can really help people regain their lives and do what they love.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here
We have.
in this segment, but there's still more to explore. In the next and final part of our deep dive, we're going to kind of venture into a territory that's often overlooked when it comes to orthotic management, the upper extremities.
Okay.
So get ready to discover how orthotics can help with, everything from carpal tunnel syndrome to arthritis in the hands and wrists.
Sounds good.
All right, welcome back to our deep dive into orthotics and arthritis. We've gone from the feet to the hips.
Right.
We've seen how these devices can really change people's lives.
Absolutely.
And now we're venturing into uncharted territory,
Okay.
the upper extremities.
The unsung heroes of our daily lives, right?
Yeah, okay.
Our hands, wrists, and elbows. We often take them for granted until, they start aching.
Right.
And suddenly, simple tasks become monumental challenges.
It's so true. We use our hands for like everything.
Right.
Typing, cooking, writing, playing music.
Everything.
Even like expressing ourselves.
Exactly.
With gestures and stuff.
Yeah.
When arthritis hits those joints, it's like our whole world shrinks.
Absolutely. It really impacts like your connection to the world, right?
Yeah.
Osteoarthritis often targets those small joints at the base of our fingers and thumbs,
Okay.
causing pain, stiffness, swelling, and even deformities. Imagine trying to button a shirt or grip a pen with like stiff, swollen fingers. They can be really frustrating and limiting.
Yeah, both. Like physically and emotionally.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So what can we do?
Right.
Like what can be done for people who are facing that?
Right.
How do orthotics fit in there?
Imagine a simple finger split,
Okay.
kind of like a miniature cast.
Yeah.
Gently immobilizing that painful joint,
Right.
allowing it to rest and recover. That's one way orthotics can help.
Okay.
They can also provide support
Right.
and improve function. allowing individuals to regain some of that dexterity and perform those tasks that were once difficult.
So it's like these simple things can make a big difference.
Yeah.
What about like more severe hand deformities?
Right. Custom-made hand orthoses, almost like miniature exoskeletons for your hands, can be incredibly effective.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They can provide that targeted support, gently correct those deformities,
Okay.
and improve the overall hand function.
It's like giving your hands a helping hand.
Exactly.
But it's not just the devices,
Yeah.
right?
No, absolutely not.
But there's got to be more to it.
Occupational therapists play a crucial role in this whole journey.
Right.
They teach people how to adapt their daily activities
Okay.
and use these devices effectively.
Right.
It's about finding ways to work around those limitations, maximizing their independence,
Right.
and reclaiming those everyday joys that arthritis can steal.
It's about empowering people to live their lives.
Exactly.
Even though they have these challenges. Okay. Carpal tunnel syndrome. I feel like a lot of people have heard of that,
Oh, yeah.
especially those of us who spend hours on the computer.
Yes, carpal tunnel is a growing concern.
Okay.
It occurs when that nerve in your wrist, the median nerve, gets compressed, causing pain, numbness, and tingling in your hand and fingers.
Okay.
So imagine that nerve being squeezed like a garden hose with a kink in it.
Okay.
That's essentially what's happening.
Ouch. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do orthotics help with carpal tunnel?
Wrist splints are a very common treatment for carpal tunnel syndrome,
Okay.
and they work by keeping your wrist in a neutral position,
Okay.
taking the pressure off that pinched nerve. Think of it as like giving that nerve a chance to breathe, relax, and recover.
Okay, so you're creating space for it to heal.
Exactly.
What about other things? Like, can wrist orthotics help with other things besides carpal tunnel?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Wrist sprains, strains, tendinitis,
Right.
all of these can benefit from the support and stability that a wrist brace can provide.
Okay.
They can help reduce pain, promote healing, and prevent further injury. And of course, for those with arthritis in the wrist joint itself, a supportive brace can make a world of difference.
It's amazing how, like, a brace can help with so many different problems.
Yeah.
Okay, last but not least, let's talk elbows.
Okay.
What are some of the orthotic options there?
Well, elbow pain is often caused by, overuse, repetitive motions or injuries.
Right.
Tennis elbow, golfer's elbow. Those are the classic examples.
Yeah.
But even everyday activities like carrying groceries or using a computer mouse can strain those tendons and muscles around that joint.
I've had tennis elbow before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I played tennis one time, and my elbow was killing me.
Oh, yeah. It can be quite painful.
Yeah.
It's all about those repetitive motions, those micro traumas that build up over time.
Yeah.
Orthotics, like elbow straps and braces, can really help in these situations.
Okay.
They provide support, reduce that strain on those muscles and tendons, and allow that area to heal properly.
So they're just giving your elbow a little extra help.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. So, today we've covered a lot. We've gone from, the tips of our toes.
Literally head to toe.
Yeah, literally head to toe.
Yeah.
We've talked about the complexity of arthritis
Right.
and, all these different orthotic devices.
It's been a fascinating journey.
Yeah, it really has.
I hope our listeners feel empowered
Yeah.
to take charge of their joint health and explore those options that are available to them.
Absolutely. Remember, there's no shame in asking for help.
Right.
Explore these options, advocate for your well-being.
Yeah.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, I
Okay.
want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay.
We've talked about the physical aspects of arthritis, the pain, the stiffness, the limitations. But what about, the emotional side of things?
Yeah, that's so important.
Yeah. How does living with chronic pain impact, your mental health,
Right.
your emotional well-being, your relationships, your sense of self?
That's a huge part of it.
Yeah, it's so complex, and often it's overlooked.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Chronic pain can really cast a long shadow. It affects not just our bodies, but our minds and our spirits.
Right.
It's important to remember that seeking support, whether it's through therapy, support groups, or even just connecting with others online, can make a world of difference.
Right.
You're not alone in this journey.
That's so important. You're not alone. Well, thank you so much for sharing all this with us today. We learned so much about orthotics.
You're welcome.
And, managing arthritis. And to our listeners, we hope this deep dive was helpful. Knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
And understanding your options, you can take charge of your health and well-being.
Right.
Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.